I just got back from my trip to Grand Canyon National Park, and I'm here to give you some tips and suggestions based on my experiences on a crowded Columbus Day weekend. You know, you're standing there at the rim of the canyon, gazing off in the vastness, and got all that beauty in front of you, and contemplating things like time and erosion and nature and kind of your place in it all and the vastness of it all. And it's really an uplifting feeling to be at the rim of the canyon and experience all that. And you feel good, and you feel enlightened. And then you turn around and you hear the noise, and then you see the human obstacle course that you've got to negotiate to get anywhere away from the rim. The canyon is really crowded. It was really crowded for a Columbus Day weekend in mid-October. The weather was beautiful, I'll give you that, but on Sunday there wasn't a place to park in the park. It was completely full, and this park is just getting used to death. In 2018, nearly 6.4 million visitors to Grand Canyon National Park, of which 90% went to the South Rim. That's a hell of a lot of people crammed into a very small place. In the summertime, when probably 2.25 million of those folks show up, that's 25,000 people a day, every day, showing up to the South Rim. And when you start to realize these numbers and the things like visitation's up over 40% in the last 7 years, you've got to have a great strategy when you visit the park, or you're going to be miserable fighting the crowds and actually fighting your way to the rim. So I'm going to give you a few strategies and tips on how to make it a little better and things I observed. The first tip I have for you is in regards to timing, both the time of the year and the time of day you arrive at the park. May through September, it's awfully crowded. If you're gonna go to the park during that time, make sure you're in the park by 7 a.m. or earlier. Otherwise, it'll fill up. Many times in the summer, they close the gates. There's no more cars allowed in, probably past 10 o'clock. And you gotta get in, claim your space, stay there, go to the visitor center parking lot, and catch shuttles and shuttle your way around. If you've got to see the village. The village is the main part of the park where all the hotels and restaurants and the market and all the stuff is, and a lot of really cool old historic buildings. Of course, anything with a roof in that park is a gift shop. And once you've seen one of the gift shops, you've seen them all. They've all got pretty much the same stuff, so you don't really need to go in all the gift shops and all the buildings. There's a little bit of information in most of the buildings, but mostly it's just about 25,000 people milling about looking for something to do or something to eat. The only way to get away from the crowds at any time in the park is to go on foot. If you can walk, you can get away from the crowds. The urban dwellers at the park tend to have a distinct advantage in dealing with these crowds in this situation. The urban dwellers, they're easily frightened, and they tend to stay in herds and with the group. Of course, the urban dwellers and the groups control all the developed areas and the roads, which means the only option is to walk away. And there's lots of great places you can find up on the rim away from the crowds if you're willing to walk. After you get your fill of the village, I want you to head out on the East Rim Drive. That's where the real Grand Canyon experience can be found, away from all the developed areas where it's just you and the canyon. Of course, at the viewpoints, there's going to be a lot of other people, but they're easy to leave behind. If you go in about 2.5 miles from the intersection of the East Rim Road, on the north side of the road, the canyon side of the road, is going to be a little parking area with a gate at the back. This is the parking area for Shonshone Point. There's no signs, there's no information about it. And it's a wonderful point. It's about a mile walk out there. The dirt road is closed, but that point can be reserved for special occasions like weddings and certain things. So there's restrooms and picnic tables and a few facilities out there. And it's a really nice little stroll out to the rim of the canyon. The point is a wonderful exposed point out into the canyon, which provides really some great views, and it's usually pretty quiet. There's generally just a few handfuls of people there. Just only about 12 or 15 cars can actually park in the parking lot, so that's one of the limiting factors right there. But it's a good chance to see a lot of wildlife on the little walk. I've seen elk and deer on that walk, as well as turkey, and a really nice, relaxing experience out on Shonshone Point. The next hint I got for you is the Grandview Trail. If you're gonna pick a trail, yeah, you can go in and hike down the Bright Angel Trail. It's a freeway, it's wide, it's got lots of people on it. You can see mule poop and the mules and whatnot going up and down that trail, but it's not a really good nature experience. It's a human experience. The Grandview Trail, on the other hand, is a great nature experience. You get away from the point, you leave the crowds behind, not very many people go down the trail, and it's really nice to walk down a mile, mile and a half or so. You get down in the canyon. It's a whole different feeling once you're down in the canyon. And just remember, the hike out will be about twice as long and a little bit of a thigh burner, and will get you even in better shape. The last hint I have for you is going to a place called the Grandview Lookout. And this is my secret place. It's access to the Kaibab National Forest from the East Rim Road on an unmarked dirt road. So if you go past or east of the Grandview Trail or Grandview Point about 2.5 miles thereabouts, you will come to an unmarked dirt road that goes off to the south or away from the canyon. Take that road. It's an all-weather road. Anything can go down it, any car, any RV, motorhome, whatnot. And after about a mile, you come to a cattle guard, and that's the national park boundary. And past that, you're in the national forest and able to disperse camp for free anywhere you want. Check with the Forest Service for local regulations over fires and that kind of thing, but you're pretty much unregulated out there in the forest. A mile past the cattle guard, you come to the Grandview Lookout, which is a wonderful fire lookout tower that from the top has some pretty incredible views of the canyon and the surrounding forest, and is a great place to go kick back and hang out and camp around there. Wonderful place, lots of wildlife out there in the forest. So I hope these hints help you out in making your visit a little more, I hate to say sane, but yeah, you got to get away from the people. It will drive you nuts driving around that park. When I guided there, average stay at the park was 3 hours and 20 minutes. I think 3 hours driving around and going to gift shops and 20 minutes looking at the canyon. People tend to run in the canyon and leave and go on to Vegas or continue with a trip. On your next trip, venture off, walk, get away from the people, and just walk along the rim of the canyon. You don't need a trail. You can't get lost. Canyons to the north, roads to the south, not but a half mile in between, so you're on your own and you're all good. Have a great time. Next time, we'll visit 3 wonderful little national monuments that can be explored in one day before or after your Grand Canyon adventure. Be sure to subscribe, and thanks for watching.